Hey, Professor,
Yeah.
I had a question. Was the midterm due today or was it due like last night at 12 or whatever?
It's due today.
Oh, so we have time to turn in today still, like later?
I think, did you already turn yours in?
Yeah, I just like, I was so mistaken, dude. Like, I was confused. Like, I didn't know if it was due today, like at 5 or something, or if it was due last night. I just had to make sure. That's alright though.
Yeah, didn't it say on there? I thought I said on there.
Yeah, I think it was due today, huh? I had to make
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't really specify a time, so yeah, technically any time today.
Okay, so I turned it in though. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, how's everyone doing today? Let's kind of get back on track here. Okay, so I think most of you turned in the midterm already, which is due today, and so you have a few more hours to get that done if you haven't already. And so once I get all the midterm twos in submitted, I will get your grades updated this week sometime. And so the midterm wasn't too bad, I assume. And so just one last reminder that you have the rest of the day to do any of the work for this portion of the semester turned in. And so any of the exercises, and obviously the midterm that we've done since spring break, that all that stuff is due today, technically I guess at midnight. And so tomorrow I'll start going through your grades and posting the solutions. So make sure you get any of those missed assignments, and especially if you haven't turned in the midterm, which most of you have, make sure you get any of that stuff in tonight by midnight, because starting today we're doing kind of we're doing some new material which will all go to the final exam. Okay, so today we're going to do example 14.2, 14.3, and 14.4, and they're all pretty short, but so I have them all kind of grouped together. And so the stuff we'll need. Okay, so on Blackboard under example 14.2, 14.3, and 14.4, you can open up the Word document with the instructions. Okay, and there's a couple optional videos, but I'll let you guys look at those if you want. And so we're going to do start with example 14.2. And for that one, you'll need the Excel template cost regression 1. Okay, so this is example 14.2, which is estimating total cost for a single product. In this older version, it's chapter 16, but this is the same one we're doing right now. So consider a company that produces a single product for each of the past 16 months. The company has kept track of the number of units produced, as well as the total cost of production. These data appear in figure 16.8, which is also on your Excel file. In the cost regression 1, so what can simple regression tell us about the relationship between the two variables? How can it be used to predict future costs? So we're going to use the historical data to estimate what we think the future cost will be based on our projected units produced. Alright, so these are all the months. This is the months of data from 1 to 16. Okay, and that is how many units we produced over the last 16 months, and then this was the total cost that we recorded for producing those units. And so our objective here is to, based on what we think we're going to produce in months 17 and 18, what is our estimated total cost going to be? So, given that we're going to produce estimated 17 units, 400 units in month 17 and 800 units in month 18, what do we think our cost is going to be, and that's what we're trying to figure out. Okay, so we'll start doing example 14.2, and so I'll refer to I'll go back to the Excel document, but we have kind of 3 quick exercises here based on these different cost regressions. Okay, so step 1 is just a look at what the scatter plot or the data looks like. So we have 2 variables, units produced and total cost. And so step 1 on your printout or your Word document is just create a scatter plot, the units produced versus total cost. So that's what we're going to do. Just select, let's select all the data. Okay, like that, A1 to C19. Okay, if you click on the Insert tab and then Recommended Charts, that first one looks like what we're looking for, so the one that just says Scatter. You can leave that default selected, so choose the Scatter plot option and hit OK. Alright, so this shows us the estimated total cost for each of the units produced. So it kind of has it how we want it. So the y-axis, you can see is total cost. And let's make some quick labels on the axis so we know what this is. And so if you click on the chart, and the plus sign for chart elements, you can choose axis titles, and you don't need the chart title, so you can uncheck that. Alright, so just so we see what the axes are, so the axis title on the y-axis, that is the total cost. So you can just change the label to total cost manually. All right, so that's total cost, which is the Y variable, and you can change the x-axis to units produced, which is the X variable. All right, so clearly, on average, when we produce more units, the cost goes up, which makes sense because we got to pay for additional units to produce them. And the relationship looks somewhat linear, so we can probably use a pretty good linear average to estimate this projection. And so step 2, we're going to add a trend line. We've done this before. And so you can click on the chart. And so I know that if you're using Excel Online, I don't think you can do the trend line. And so that's okay. So just when we estimate the equation, you can still do that. And so if you can't do the trend line, that's okay. But if you can, click on the chart. Click on the plus sign for chart elements. Go down the trend line and click on that arrow. And then more options. Okay, and then you want to leave it as linear, so choose linear. And you want to click on, go down where it says display equation on chart. And also where it says display R squared value on chart, click on that as well. Okay, so you want to choose linear, and then display equation on chart, and also display R squared value on chart. Okay, and then if you want, you can format the trend line label to look a little more visible. And so all you gotta do is click on the text and right click it where it says format trend line label. And you can just change the category to number with 2 decimals. Okay, so then we got our scatter plot with the trend line, with the equation, and the R squared. So everybody doing all right so far? Okay. And so step 3 is just to get our estimated total cost. And so let's call column D. This is step 3. So estimated TC. Let's call that column 3 estimated TC. for estimated total cost. So I'm just going to move the chart over a minute, a bit. Alright, so column D, we call that estimated total cost. And what we're going to do is just write in our equation that we got from the trend line to estimate our total cost, and then we can use that to project the next 2 months. Okay, so starting in D2, let's type in our equation, which is equals. So equals 23,643.26, which is the intercept from the equation, plus parentheses 198.47, which is our intercept from that equation, times, and we're looking at how units produced affects total cost. So the first X variable is D2, so that's the first units produced. Okay, so see this equation in above the trend line. That's exactly what we're typing in right there, and our X value is just units produced. So again, equals 23,643.26 plus parentheses 198.47 times D2. Alright, so even if you don't have the trend line or the equation, you can just type in this formula into your Excel. Alright, and then if you want, you can apply that same formula all the way down the estimated TC, the D column. Just click on it and drag it down all the way to row 19. Alright, and with everything selected, let me just format this to be currency, so you can click on on the home tab, click on format, and then format cells, and you can change the category to currency. And if you want, you can choose 0 decimals with the $sign thing. Alright, so you can see that we put in our same linear equation that we got from the trend line projection. And this is what it is for all of the actual data points. And then these are our projections. So this is, if we think we're going to produce 400 units, that's the estimated total cost. And if we think we're going to produce 800 units, that's our estimated total cost.
Hey, Professor, what was that last, format step that you did on the cells and the format?
So I just formatted the cells to be currency, so you can select.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it again.
All right, thank you.
So home tab and then format cells down at the bottom. And then you can change your category to currency. And I just wanted to have the $sign in front, and you can take away the decimals. So currency is 0 decimals with the symbol $sign. Okay. Okay, so again, if we produce 400 units or 800 units, you're basically just looking at the trend line. And so the projection from 400 is somewhere around there. So it's something like 100,000. You can see our projection is $103,031. And for 800, it should be something like, I don't know, 180. And it's, 182,419. So these are our two. So your forecasted total cost for months 17 and 18 would be these two down here. Okay, so our goal was to use this data to make a trendline relationship and then forecast it for the 2 months in the future, and that's what these two numbers are. So these are our forecasts right there where I highlighted. Okay, so that's example 14.2. We have a couple more to do, but this one is pretty much done. And any questions on this one? Or anything else we need repeated? Okay, so you can go ahead and close this one, and let's look at the other two templates. So this one's done, and so this one goes into okay. So we're doing 3 short ones today: 14.2, 14.3, and 14.4. They all go into this discussion forum right here. Okay, so we're done with this one for now. Let's close this. You can open up the cost regression 2. All right, so this is estimated total cost for several products, and now we have more than one X variable. And so suppose the company, an example, well, in our case it's 14.2, now produces 3 products, A, B, and C. So there's product A, product B, and product C. Companies kept track of the number of units produced of each product and the total production cost for the past 15 months. These data are here and in the spreadsheet, the cost regression 2 that we're about to go to. And so the question is, what can multiple regression tell us about the relationship between these variables? And then how can multiple regression be used to predict future costs? So now we have 3 different types of products, units A, B, and C, that are going to affect probably total costs differently. All right, so this is example 14.3 on your printout or your Word document, this one here. All right, so these are all the number of units we produced historically for each product and the associated total cost combined. and then we're trying to use what we think we're going to produce for units A, B, and C in months 16 and 17 to predict the future cost for the next 2 months. All right, so because we're doing now, we're estimating the dependent variable X total cost Y as a function of 3 X variables, which are units A, B, and C. We can't just use a two-dimensional trend line because there's more than one variable that affects total cost. And so you can do everything together in a simple linear regression. And so you might have done this before in a statistics course. We're not going to do too much statistics, but we need to use some method to estimate a linear relationship between total cost and the other 3 variables. And so we'll use a simple multiple regression. And so if you have, so I'm going to use the data analysis feature in any Excel format. If you're using the online version or Google Sheets, you will not be able to do the data analysis. But I can get you. You can use the parameters once I get them. But if you have regular Excel and you want to do the data analysis, then you just have to check it like you do like the solver. And so okay, so under data, you can see that I have data analysis right here, right above solver. And so if you have that option, if you're using the full version of Excel on Windows or Mac, you can easily get data analysis. And so let me show you how to do that. So this is similar to loading solver. Okay, so again, if you have the full version of Excel and you want to get data analysis, then follow these steps. Click on the File tab. Click on Options. Click on Add-ins. And down there where it says Manage the Excel add-ins, click on the Go button. Okay, if you have the option, it will be right here. You want the Analysis Tool Pack. It's the first thing in alphabetical order, so if you have it, Analysis Tool Pack, click on it. And then hit OK. Okay, and then under Data tab, you should see, if you were able to get it, you should see the data analysis right there. And it's slightly different for using a Mac, but it's the same way we did to get Solver. You should be able to find the data analysis tool pack if you have it. All right. So if you're using the online version, you won't be able to use data analysis, which is fine. But if you're using the full version and you're following along and you want to use data analysis, was everybody able to load it that wants to, or did we have any issues loading data analysis? Okay, so it seems like there's no problems thus far. And so if you do have any issues, assuming you're using the full version of Excel, loading data analysis, then either post a question in the chat or let me know. Okay, so we are going to use data analysis to estimate a multiple regression where the total cost, the y variable, is a function of all the units produced, A, B, and C. So there's 3 x variables and 1 y variable. And so if you want to do this, click on the data tab. Okay, so this is step 1. And so we're going to use data analysis to estimate a regression with total cost as the dependent variable and units A, B, C as the 3 independent variables. So this is just step 1. And so data tab, click on data analysis and then scroll down. It's in alphabetical order. You want to go to regression, which is right there, that one. Okay, and then click on OK. All right, and to choose your Y range, that is the total cost area. So click on this button. And you want to choose the total cost area, which is E1 to E16. And then hit that again. And then you want to choose your X value, so click on this button. Okay, and you can choose all the X variables at the same time, which are all the units produced, or the different types of units. So you want specifically B1 to B16 for all the units produced. So X variables are B1 to range B1 to D16. And then that box that has labels, click on that because then you'll be able to see what the variables are in the printout. Okay, so Y range is E1 to E16, X range is D1 to D16, and click on that labels box, and if you got that stuff, you can hit the OK button. Okay, and it should give you this summary output. So if you're able to do this feature, does that work? Anybody not able to do that?
Mine said that the regression of the X and Y labels must have the same, I believe, must have the same number of rows.
Okay, so go back to the data tab and click on data analysis.
Okay.
Choose regression again and hit OK. Yeah, what do your ranges say?
My ranges for the E tab?
What are your ranges for the Y range and then for the X range?
Let's see, it's regression. The Y range was it's E2 to E16.
Alright, so change that to E1 to E16.
Okay. And then the second one was A1 to D16.
And then the X range should be B1 to D16. So can you see mine now?
Okay, I see. I see, alright then.
And then also have to make sure you get that labels box too.
Alright, yeah, for sure. Thank you. Got it. Appreciate it.
Alright, so then when you hit OK, you should get this. And so I'm assuming that hopefully that works for most of you that are doing this. Okay, and so this is what we're looking for is just the the relationship or the effect of the separate x variables on y. And so a lot of this stuff in the summary output, we don't need to focus on that. We're not going to deep dive into the statistics, but what we're looking for are what those estimated effects on y are. And so just like looking at the one-dimensional one, okay, so remember this one, I'm just trying to tie this together. And so the slope coefficient, the 198.47 from the trend line, so that's the same thing, but we have three of those because there's three variables. So there's three separate estimated linear effects, which are all like a separate, so if we could do three separate graphs like this with y and all the separate x variables. But we don't really need to do that. We just need the estimates, and the estimates are the coefficients. Okay, so these values right here are what we're looking for. Okay, and so if you were able to get this summary output, what we need is just let's take the coefficients and paste them onto the other data tab. If you don't have the online version, you can just type in the coefficients. There's only 4 of them. And so if you have this summary output, just select B16 to B20, like I'm selecting, or actually, select A16 to B20, that range there, and you can copy it, Control C. Alright, and then go back to the data tab and just in maybe G1, you can paste it, hit Control V. Alright, and then there are the coefficients we need to do our estimate. So I'm just going to format this to have maybe two decimals is fine, so we don't need all those numbers. And so if you have this, click on these numbers, and you can go to Home tab, Format Cells. And you can change the category to number with 2 decimals with the comma separator, and hit OK. Okay, so if you made it this far, you should have this in G1 to H5. If you're able to copy and paste. If not, if you just have the online version or didn't do the data analysis, just type in these numbers here, because we're going to use them for, we're going to make a simple range name. So just, if you weren't able to do the data analysis, just type this in. So write your coefficients here, your intercepts, your units here, and then just type in these numbers for the different units. Okay, so everybody good so far? Even if you don't have the data analysis, just type in what you see there in the G and H column. And what we're going to do is make simple range names, and then use those to make our estimates. Okay, so if you got this, you can select G2 to H5. And we're going to make range names, so remember how to do this is Formulas tab. And then create some selection. And one left column is good, so hit OK. Okay, so this is intercept, this is unit A, this is unit B, and this is unit C. Alright, and then finally in the F column, we're going to estimate the total cost based on the linear estimates or the coefficients we got. So in column F, you can call this estimated TC. Okay, and then starting in F2, we're basically going to type in the equation with the coefficient. So it's similar to what we did with the trendline parameters, except we have we have additional x variables. So just specify this is one big linear equation to estimate total cost. So just in F2 equals intercept Okay, so the range name right there is 20,261.27, and then plus parentheses, units A times the units A data, B2, alright, and then close the parentheses, add another argument, which is going to be, you see what we're doing here, units B times C2, the first observation of units B, alright, and then final argument is for unit C. So unit C times D2, the first unit C. So this is your full equation that you have for estimated total cost. And so see, we're just pulling in the parameters that we got from the regression and using those. And so it's like, it's just like the trend line, except there's more x variables. Okay, so the equation is equals intercept plus units A times V2 plus units B times C2 plus unit C times D2. Alright, and if you got that, you can hit enter. Okay, and so we have the formula set up. And so if you got the range names and you got that equation, you can just drag it down the rest of the estimated TC F column all the way to F18. Okay, like that. And the last thing we can do is format this to be currency so we can compare the total cost. Alright, so if you have that selected, the F column, home tab, format cells. Okay, and you can just do currency with 0 decimals with the dollar sign. Okay, so these are all the estimates based on the actual data. You can see how this compares. This is the actual and this is the estimate. And then based on us producing these respective numbers of units we think we're going to produce in month 16, that would be our estimated total cost. And for month 17, if we think we're going to produce this number of units of each type, then this is our estimated total cost for month 17. Okay, so any questions on what we did there in the last few steps? Our goal is to get the estimated total cost for month 16 and 17, which is what we got hopefully in F18 and F17. Okay, are we doing this? Okay, so this is, we're done with the cost of the example 14.3. Alright, so if you have this, you can save it and put it aside and post it to the Blackboard forum for appropriate examples right here. Okay, so the two we've done so far, 14.2 and 14.3, go in the same discussion thread here. Okay, so we got one more to do and then a quick practice problems. So cost regression 3 is our next one. Alright, so on your Excel, your Word document, your printout, we're about to the last one. Example 14.4, these steps. You told me to just read the synopsis real quick from the textbook for estimating production costs at 3 company plants. Okay, suppose the company produces a single product at 3 different manufacturing plants. As in that example, the company wants to regress total costs on units produced, but it suspects that the relationship between these variables might differ from plant to plant, has monthly data from the past 16 months for each of the plants, some of which appear in the figure and the cost regression 3 file we're about to use, and how can the company use dummy variables, which is another way of saying binary variables, to estimate the relationship between total cost and units produced for all 3 plants simultaneously. So basically, we're trying to investigate if more costs is produced in some plants versus the other with this analysis, and you can probably guess what it is because we've got to find something. Okay, so we're using this last one, cost regression 3. And so what you see is all the months. This is month 1. These are the 3 plants. This is the unit produced at each plant, and you can see the total cost varies from plant to plant for each month. So we have 16 months times 3, and then so you can see the cost might be different in each respective plant, and we're going to use the historical data to see how that cost varies from plant to plant, because that might be of interest to the company to see which plants are least costly or more efficient, and so on. All right. So in example 14.4, step 1 is we need to create some binary variables or dummy variables, which means the argument is either 0 or 1. So it's not, we're not going to spend too much time on this concept, but if you want to watch, I think there's like a little 10-minute video on it that's optional for the Word document here. Okay, so if you want more on dummy variables, also known as binary variables, then you can watch that little video. But I'll try to explain it. It's just, we're basically saying it falls into this category or doesn't, so it's either 0 or 1. So when your X variable is binary or a dummy variable, and it can take one of two values, either 0 or 1. So binary means it falls in that category or it doesn't. So if it's in the plant, it's 1. If it's not, it's 0. And so that's an easier way of saying what the differences in costs are by saying if you're in this plant, you're 1. If you're not, you're 0. So all the plants have to go, all the observations have to go somewhere, but we're trying to isolate the effect in the different plants. Alright, so here, let's add step 1, 3 ranges. So let's call this one plant 1 in the E column. Okay, so your variable names here are plant 1, plant 2, and plant 3 in the E column, the F column, and the G column. And so we're going to specify an equation to say if it was produced at that plant, then it gets a 1, otherwise it gets a 0. But label your columns plant 1, plant 2, and plant 3 right there. Alright, you can specify the equation you see in step 1, which is this one, and put that into E2, and we'll modify it for the rest of the area. There's your formula, equals if B2 equals 1, comma 1, comma 0. So this is pretty simple, but it helps us categorize binary or not. So it says if B2 is equal to 1, then put a 1 in the cell. If not, put a 0. So if the plant is at location 1, it's going to get a 1. If it's not, it's going to get a 0. So it's pretty simple, but it's a very important way to categorize. So put this equation in here. If B2 equals 1, comma 1, comma 0. So if it's at 1, it gets a 1. If it's not, it gets a 0. Alright, and then the next thing is it's going to just drag it down. So look at all the B column, and so you can double click cell E2, double click the bottom right corner to apply it down the column. Okay, just like that. So you should get the formula go down. And the only thing that changes is the reference in the B column, and so you should see that if it occurred at plant 1, it gets a 1, and if it doesn't, it gets a 0, all the way down the E column. Okay, so if that works, we got to do something similar for plant 2 and plant 3. And so I need to modify a few things, but let's just drag the formula over. So click on E2 and drag it to F2 and G2. Okay, so we need to change the reference or the formula in F2 to, first of all, it should be equals if D2, okay, equals 2, because this is plant 2's column, comma 1, comma 0. So here in F2, there's one that should say equals if D2 equals 2, comma 1, comma 0. So if plant 2, it's a 1. If not, it's a 0. So we're just specifying the same logic, but in this case it's plant 2 as opposed to plant 1. Alright, so if you got that, enter. So the first one's not plant 2, so it gets a 0, but click on this cell, F2, and double click the bottom right corner to apply it down the F column. Alright, so there you go. Excel should have put a 2 for all the plant 2s and a 0 for the otherwise condition. Okay, and we have one more plant to do, which is plant 3, so we're going to specify the same thing for this plant. So it should say in D2 equals if D2 equals 3 this time. So now we want to know if it happened in plant 3. So the formula is equals if D2 equals 3, comma 1, comma 0. So if it occurred at plant 3, it's a 1. If it did not, it's a 0. Alright, and then you can click on D2, double click the bottom right corner, and that should complete the binary variable setup. And so if you scroll down, you should see that each row has only one, so this one occurred at plant 1, this one occurred at plant 2, and this one occurred at plant 3. So you made sure not to double count, and so if you go down, you'll see that all the plant 1s get a 1 in plant 1, and so on for all the other ones there. Okay, so did you guys get that part? Okay, so step 2 is we're going to estimate a regression this time where our y variable is total cost again. So this is step 2. So see, what we're doing is we're estimating a multiple regression with dummy variables. So using data analysis, let's estimate a regression where total cost is the dependent variable and units produced, plant 2 and plant 3 are the 3 x variables. And so The reason why we're not including all of the plants is because basically you can only use one less than the total number of dummy variables because you don't want to double count your observation. So what we're saying is that we're only going to include, it doesn't matter which two we include, we're going to include only two and three because you can probably see that when it's a plant two, when it's one, it goes to plant two, and when it's plant three, it goes to plant three. Now, the way this works is when both of those are zeros, that automatically defaults to plant one. So we only need one less than the total number of actual dummy variables we specified because the case in which plant two and plant three are both zero, that's automatically plant one. So we can't include them all, we gotta pick two. Okay, so plant one is indirectly the case in which plant two and plant three are both zero. Okay, so I think it's easier to put the data we want in the regression over on a separate area. And so I'm going to first copy the total cost column over to the I column. Okay, so if you want to select the whole D column, which is D1 to D49, and just copy it, Control C. And you can paste it right here, so just click on I1 and hit Control V for paste. Okay, and then we're going to paste the X variables next to it, so it's easier to specify the range. So you can select the units produced column, C1 to C49, and copy that, Control C. And then go over to J1 and paste it here, Control V. And then we're going to paste plant 2 and plant 3's columns right next to it. So you can select F and G together, F1. You can select F1 to G49. And Control C is copy. Okay, and before you paste it, you don't want to have any formulas in the data analysis ranges. So you're going to paste the values, and so when you go after you copy it, when you go to K1, under the Home tab, you see that paste drop-down menu, so click on that and then choose. See the option for this value. You want to choose that. Okay, so these are the same numbers, except they don't have the formulas, they're just the values. Alright, so I'll make sure that we have this. So over here we have total cost, which will be a function of units produced, plant 2 and plant 3. So this stuff over here, from the I column on, is all we need for the specification and the regression. Okay, so we have total cost, units produced, and plant 2 and plant 3 over here. And make sure you put plant 2 and plant 3 as values only, not the formula. Okay, so if we got that, we can run our final data analysis regression, which is to say how units produced in the different plants affect the total cost. All right, so step 3 is estimate this regression. If you have data analysis, you can do this. All right, so if you have the option, click on data, then data analysis. And then regression again and hit OK. Okay, and for the X range, for the Y range, click on that button and then choose the entire I column. Alright, so you're choosing I1 to I49, so include the title. And to change the X range, click on this button. And you want to select units produced, plant 2 and plant 3 all together. So the total range you want to select is J1 to L49. So the total range units produced, plant 2 and plant 3. Click on this button. Okay, so make sure your ranges are the same length. So it should be 1 to 49. So your Y range is I1 to I49, and your X range is J1 to L49, and you want to have your label box selected. And if you got this, you can hit OK. All right, and so if you're able to get this far, then you should have the summary output for this regression with the coefficients we need to make our estimate. All right, so did that work if you were trying to do this? Okay, so what we need here is the coefficient estimates, because those are the effects of the X variables on Y total cost. So if you have this, you can do the same thing we did last time, which is copy and paste the coefficients over to the other data tab. Okay, so you can select A16 to B20, and Control C is to copy that. Okay, and then back on the data tab, you can paste it. I'll just paste it right here in O. So Control V. All right, and then I think it's easier just to format the numbers a little bit so they're easier to type in if you need to. So if you select P2 to P5 and just format those to be numbers with no decimals. All right, so P1 to P5, then Home tab, format cells. Then I just chose numbers as the category with 0 decimals with the comma separator. All right, so there we go. That's a lot easier. And so if you were not able to do data analysis, if you have only the online version, etc., then just all you need is, what we really need here is just the number. So just type these numbers in for the range of 1 to P6. Sorry, 1 to P5. Okay, so if you got that, we can make the simple range names again, and then use those ranges to estimate the total cost that might vary at the different plants and with the units produced. Okay, so you can, if you got this in here, select O to P5, and you can create range names for those again. Formulas tab and create some selections. Left column is good, so hit OK. Alright, and then we're going to estimate our total cost in the M column, so you can call column M estimated TC again. Okay, and again, we're going to specify our equation with the coefficients that are now ranges, and then we can apply it down for all the estimates of our projected or estimated total cost. So starting in M2 equals the intercept range name plus, in parentheses, units produced times the first units produced, which is J2, plus another argument, which is 0.2, times K2, alright, and then plus the last one is 0.3 times L2. So there's our full equation equals intercept plus units produced times J2 plus 0.2 times K2 plus 0.3 times L2. So you just type in all the coefficients and multiply them by the respective variable. So you're trying to estimate the effect differently on units produced, on total cost, plant 2 on total cost, and plant 3 on total cost. Okay, so there's our estimated total cost for the first one, and you can just, if you have that equation, you can double click the bottom right corner, apply it down the whole M column, and you can just format this to the currency, so it looks like a total cost projection. Alright, so again, home tab, format cells, and format cells. And I changed the currency with 0 decimals and the dollar sign symbol again. Okay, so these are all estimated total costs based on the different values of what's affected by units produced, plant 2 and plant 3. Okay, we're not forecasting in this one, we're just trying to see if the estimated total cost is different, and we can see that it is, just looking over here. And so we'll go into this in more detail when we look at some practice problems, but you can see these coefficients for the plants. Okay, those are the effects on total cost, and so we're saying that it's either more or less costly to produce at these plants. And remember, because we purposely omitted plant 1, these are in comparison to plant 1. So it's on average, okay, so basically total cost is usually about $13,000 or more at plant 2 compared to plant 1. And total cost is about $15,000 less at plant 3, and again compared to plant 1. So that's kind of what these coefficients say for these binary or dummy variables. Either the cost is higher or lower just compared to the plant that was omitted. Okay, so that's really it for this one. So we specified the different locations, the different plants. We estimated the effect of units produced in the different plants on total cost. And then we estimated the total cost based on those projected or estimated relationships. Okay, so these are the actual total costs, and these are the estimates. We're really interested here in how cost varies from plant to plant. Okay, any questions on this one? We're pretty much done with example 14.4. Okay, and all of those that we just did, 14.2, 14.3, and 14.4, those go right there into the discussion forum for that. And those are due next Monday. So everything's usually due on Mondays, and so we'll stick with that. All right, so these ones we did today, which will do next Monday. And then we'll do example 14.5 and 14.6 on Wednesday, which will also be due Monday. Okay, and so I don't think we have time to get to it today, but I have some practice problems that are already solved for this one. And so these past midterm problems from spring 2018 have some nice practice problems for stuff we just did today. And so I solved this for you. If you want to look at those are right here for today's material. But I'll go over that stuff at a later date because I want to make sure we understand the material there. And so we'll revisit the practice problems. But we finished the cost regression 1, 2, and 3 for today for those examples. And again, make sure most of you have already submitted your midterm. And so if you have not, make sure you get that in by today, because today's the deadline, and make sure that you have any past assignments that you want to finish. Today is the last day to do that. So any of these assignments since the spring break and the midterm, all that stuff's got to be in today, because I got to get your grades updated. And so once I get the midterms in. I will start grading those and post your grades sometime this week. But that's about all I had for today. And if you don't have any more questions about anything else, I will see you Wednesday at the same time. And thanks for joining. And please stay safe and take care.